First things first, y'all. Well, first things first. How you doing? You got Gord here, you're hurting hippie. And yeah, I changed the name of this because what's in the name? Well, a rose by any other name smells as sweet? Sure. But does Google cut that rose off? No. I've changed the name because if I put the word weedy, even if I put W star star DY, their algorithm is catching it and shutting it off. And once it shuts off, I can't get it reviewed unless 1,000 of you have viewed it. So none of my weedy weekends are monetized. I'm trying to get it monetized. You'll see, if you check my channel, you'll see I'm going to be posting after I post this or during the posting of it today on Sunday. I'm going to be posting something where I announce that I've basically decided not to leave YouTube. They're not going to chase me away. You guys are more important than the little bit of money they're paying. And by them not paying me so much, well, they don't make so much. Hell with them. Anyways, we're on with, Hippie News Network, where we don't give you fake news, we give you baked news. Let's get a little baked, not faked. Yeah, I may have 1,000 of them. Not yet, though. So let's have a little bit. This is Rockstar Rosin from MMJ Total Healthcare in Vernon, BC. Check them out. If you can't make your own rosin, you might as well get some from somebody. And this is nice. This is Rockstar. Tastes really nice. It's a little bit runny. And that's what rosin is. Rosin, very difficult to keep a strong consistency with your rosin. Lower temps always works. Let's move on with the news, my friends. That's why you come here, right? Well, I got some good ones. Sorry I didn't have any last week. Busy week. It's going to be busy. I may be doing this every second week instead of every week. We'll see. We'll see. We'll do it as often as possible. And it's always the news that you guys have shared with me. I should stop doing that. That's a Clinton thing. I can't stand Clinton. Anyways, the first story, all these stories will be in the description below. While you're looking below, click that subscribe button, please. The more subscribers, the more I can get out to other people. This first story is the trouble with studying government-provided marijuana. This is a complaint from one of the companies that I'll let you read most of it because I've got some big stories this week. But it's a very good story in the fact that Sue Sisley, who is a researcher who has just embarked on first-of-a-kind clinical trial of government medical marijuana for military veterans suffering PTSD. Very, very important study. Damned important study. The way good marijuana works on PTSD is amazing, and we inflict PTSD on our military. We should be providing the best marijuana for that research, but you've got to look at this. The study has its difficulties. Sisley says she once got a batch of federal marijuana that resembled green talcum powder. Doesn't smell like pot, looks like flour, green flour. You gotta read it, you gotta see below, and it's no wonder that most studies that the government will back show marijuana as having very little to no medicinal effect. Why? Because they provide them with the crappiest green, poorest grown, non-bud forming, ground up sticks and stems and seeds marijuana. I didn't even get crap like that back in the 60s. So it's sad, it's dumb. We've got to get the government out of the medical field, period. Anyways, let's move on. Yeah, that was a nice talk. It's nice to smile with y'all. I hope you're thumbs upping. I hope you're pressing subscribe, please. And I hate to go on that, but I want to get to more people. because I don't care about the money that they pay me, the demonetization, but by demonetizing, they throttle down your ability to get to more people. It's the getting to more people that I like, not the money. I don't care about the money. It's reaching people who need information, just spurring the conversation. It is because of social media that marijuana took off. I'm positive of that because the more we speak, the more we know, the more we know, the more we share, the more we share, the more we know. Next story. How does cannabis affect your memory? This is a good one. This is a good one. Most of you will agree with this. It does say that long term there are some serious effects to the memory for those long term users. Short term users, no, or if you only use it once in a while, no. Only during the high that it can affect your memory. It's a good story. It's a pretty good story. I'm going to let you read it though, because it's really in depth, and memory is such a construct. There are so many different memories that are triggered by things, memories that you draw on, memories that are only drawn on when you're asked a question, short term, long term, all that kind of stuff. So it's a good study. I enjoyed the article. It's a hard one to share much of it with you, just by the fact that I think it's worthwhile to see what it does. And yes, prior to a year ago, my THC versus CBD input would have been 80% THC, 20% CBD, or even very much less for the last year. And now I'm probably at a 50-50. This does go on, so please read below. It does go on to say that although THC seems to have these adverse effects, short-term on short-term memory, short-term on long-term recall, long-term on long-term users. There, I did kind of sum up the article. Cannabidiol, CBD, tends to firm up memory, make recall easier, make recall clearer and more defined. So it's well worth the read. It's well worth having a little bit of something with you. Aha. In here, I've got 60% CBD oil, no THC. It's a really nice one to keep me calm during the day. I carry it with me all the time. It is from AO Vape. You'll see that I've done the review on the Como. I really enjoy this for CBD. It's the right temp, the perfect temp. Peace. Cheers. And what a better time to have a little bit of cannabidiol while I was speaking about how it helps the memory. And I promise you, I couldn't do this video with my anxiety, and I'm such an introvert. Without CBD, I wouldn't be doing the videos I do. Let's move on to the next story, which is a great one. Is cannabis a gateway drug? I'll let you read whatever you want to read of this one. This one always pisses me off, but the subject matter pisses me off. The way Leafly has responded to it is beautiful. This story is really well done. Their answers done in 2 exhibits. Exhibit A, the countless living humans who have experienced cannabis and even incorporated it as a regular part of their lives without being inspired to progress to dangerous narcotics like cocaine and heroin. In fact, cannabis is increasingly being recognized as a tool to help addicts get off dangerous drugs. I'll lead into a story later on about opioids. So the exhibit A, as here's a proof. Look at society. The major amount of people who do, there's a lot of pot smokers out there that have never experienced anything other than pot, or have experienced but didn't stay with it. Exhibit B, the fact that the majority of cannabis potential as a gateway drug comes because of its prohibition, which requires those who want cannabis to buy it through the illegal market, often from dealers with more to sell than cannabis, an incentive to sell as much of everything as possible. It is so true. I did not move on from cannabis and move back to cannabis. I had times with heavier drugs in my life. I did not go to them because I was already smoking marijuana. The only reason I went to any other drug at any other time has been because the person that I was buying my marijuana from was also selling something else. If I'm buying from a store in this new world, if this new world existed when I was younger, there's absolutely no way I would have ever tried a harder drug, because I would have gotten it from a store or from someone who could get it from a store. And there would have been no interaction with anybody who has illicit drugs. No touch to the... Yes, I would have had somebody bootleg it for me. That could spur up comments below, but let's see what it does. So I love this story. Read on. Have some fun with it. Share it with people. I do encourage not only for you to share my video, but I encourage you, if you go to these sites, to share these pages with your social media. Get your people that follow you to just know more. The more we know, the better we are. Oh, excuse me. The next story. Let's have a drink of coffee. The next story is something very Canadian, but I'm sure it spills off into legal fields in the US. And that is your right to smoke as a tenant. This was especially encouraging to me as a tenant. I have owned my own home for the last 20 years, and now I'm a renter again. So I was very concerned, especially when the guy went to rent it to me. He saw my long hair and said, "Do you smoke that illegal marijuana?" And that, I loved that he asked me that way, because I said, "No, I don't smoke illegal marijuana. I smoke medical cannabis." But how you answer is very important. There I go being political. But now with this story, I'll let you read again. Bob Aaron, a Toronto-based real estate lawyer, is responding. And I've highlighted a few things. The general rule, Aaron said, is that you can smoke tobacco or marijuana in your own unit. But if the migrating smoke interferes with somebody else's enjoyment of their property, then the landlord can attempt to take action. But even so, court battles over smoking in rental units have gone both ways in the past. The court sometimes ruling in favor of the tenant and sometimes siding with the landlord. So it isn't super clear, but as long as you keep the smoke to yourself, the landlord has, if he's had no complaints, he's got no case. You can smoke it. So one thing I do, well, first of all, there's only one other tenant lives below me, and he doesn't care. So I know that there's going to be no problem here. But I will say, look it up. I don't think they sell this brand anymore, but Smoke Buddy, this is a Smoke Buddy Junior. Yeah, it's kind of dirty because it's been around forever. But you blow the smoke into that and nothing comes out. No smell. It's really, really well worth it if you're trying to keep it from wafting into neighbors' units and stuff like that. Okay, that's a good story. Let's move on. The next one is about cannabidiol and the benefits of hemp and cannabis. It is the miracle molecule. Everything you need to know about the CBD benefits of CBD oil. Okay. So I'm just going to read a part of it. As usual, it's hard to turn on the news these days without hearing reports of cannabis and hemp being legalized around the globe, and with good reason. These two plants have been important to humankind as medicines, food, fiber, and more for thousands of years. They're incredibly safe, grow wildly and abundantly in most climates, and have an extraordinary list of practical uses. It's almost as if Mother Nature created them for us. And in fact, that's not a recent, terribly far-fetched idea. The human body actually contains special receptors, CB1, CB2, I've talked about this, throughout the nervous system that are specifically activated by compounds found primarily in cannabis and hemp plants, like CBD, like THC, like CBN, CBC, CBG. There's so many of them in that plant, and the body already has a natural reception system for it. Of course, Mother Nature put cannabidiol there and THC there to look after us. There's some thought that maybe THC was surrounding the CBD to just protect it from predators because it's poisonous, but that it doesn't go very far. It's worth saying anyway. And the final thing is legal weed, an accidental solution to the opioid crisis. And this is from Maclean's, Canada. It's a really good story, and it's a difficult story because I know myself, when I first broke my neck, I was 29 years old, and I was 6 months in a rehab center. I was on so many different painkillers, and it destroyed my body, it destroyed my system, but worse, it destroyed my life. I should have learned then. But then fast forward to 2005, I get married. 2008, I end up on disability and depression, and I allow pharmaceuticals back into my life. 3 years later, my marriage is torn apart. It changes the person. It changes the person. It doesn't enhance it. So I'm just going to leave this story with you all. It first appeared in The Conversation. It's a great story. It's a difficult one because, you know, right now the opioid crisis kills 4 people a day in BC. 4 people a day in one province in this country. 4 people a day are dying because of the addiction to opioids. If never introduced to them, if our doctors could just see the benefits, every doctor I come across in the system, and I'm meeting some new ones because mine's slowly retiring. I'm meeting some new ones, and I start talking about this, and they start learning, and they start getting interested because they don't want to recommend something that people will get addicted to and sick from and maybe even dying from. It's a difficult subject. It's a difficult subject to end with. So we're going to instead end with a toke, a fun toke. I don't do this often. I don't get high very often. I just get medicated. Today I've gotten a little high with y'all, and this here is clear. Distillate THC, 98% THC it was, but then they do a 5% removal of volume and add flavor. This one's Fruity Pebbles, and it tastes like, let me just, there. Oh, way too much. Can't take all. Well, we're here to have fun, aren't we? So there's the clear, 92% THC, not THCA, not THCV, THC, not Delta 8, Delta 9, tetrahydrocannabinol, and only that. So therefore, if I ate this right now, it will react because it doesn't need to be carboxylated, but I can breathe it in, and the reaction is quicker. Peace and cheers, love and harmony. That was a beautiful tasting and soon affecting marijuana. And let me leave you with this. This channel is not about that. This channel is about getting healthy. This channel is about being the advocate that you can be, no more, no less, to bringing a more natural response to the world. The world creates our anxiety. The world creates our pain. The environment pressures down on us as we get older and need more and more. We have a natural remedy. Our world provides for our world, for what our world destroys, our world provides for. This plant is natural. This plant is for all of us. We need to get over the stigma, and we need to fight it in every way possible. Because right now, man, they're doubling down. They're doubling down because the pharmaceutical companies, the beer companies, they're all losing to this more calm, natural method of making life a little easier. And we all need that. Peace and cheers. Love and harmony.